Thank you for my here, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to the Oregon Convention Center, one of Exo's facilities. And this is the first of 9 town halls that Merkley is hosting this weekend across the state.
Yeah.
So the convention center is, if not the greenest convention center in the country, and it welcomes nearly 500,000 people per year, from everything from Comic-Con to high school graduations. This is possible from the hard work of the incredible union crew, so let's take a moment to acknowledge them. All the work Thank you, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I also know that we're joined today by many elected officials. Can you all please stand and be recognized?
Not going to try to do that.
There we go. Thank you for being here and thank you for your service. And once Senator Merkley finishes his questions, please stay at a few local announcements. So it's my pleasure to introduce the senator. Jeff has been called the Roots and Food Senator because of his deep Oregon roots and his boots on the ground, traveling to meet with Oregonians in every corner of the state. Born in the southern Oregon town of Middle Creek, Jeff spent his early years in Douglas County, where his father worked as a millwright, which is the mechanic that keeps the mill machinery running. Jeff learned the ropes of public policy as an intern for Oregon Senator Mark Hatfield, and later worked on national security issues for the Secretary of Defense. It was Jeff's experience leading housing nonprofits here in Oregon, including a chapter of Habitat for Humanity, that really takes credit for its call to public service for Oregon. Jeff was elected to the Oregon House in 1998 and became House Speaker in 2007. 2 years later, he was then sworn into the same U.S. Senate seat once held by Hatfield. Jeff now serves as a top Democrat on the Senate Budget Committee and on the Interior Spending Committee, where he brings an Oregon perspective to important spending decisions. That includes securing funding for more than 500 projects across Oregon that communities identified as their top priorities. Those projects include the University of Oregon's Balmer Institute for Children's Behavioral Health Information Center and affordable housing projects like the City of Portland's Library Apartments. In the Senate, Jeff is taking on the powerful to deliver for the people, ringing the alarm bells about threats to democracy, and fighting for the 4 foundations families need to thrive: healthcare, education, affordable housing, and good paying jobs. Jeff holds a town hall in every Oregon county every year. This is his 6th town hall already this year, and his 618th town hall overall. We're so happy to have you and proud to have you represent us. Please join me in welcoming our Roots and Food Senator from Oregon.
Thank you very much. And great to have you all come out on a Friday and join this conversation. Before we really roll into things, I wanted to acknowledge that the Frog Brigade is here, and
Yeah, we are. I cannot see them. Sorry, guys. That's what you get for having a legally blind camera guy.
Happy to report. Delighted to have you. Come on up, Frogs. Let's have you.
Oh, please, yes.
together so strong. May have become a symbol of protest against authoritarian takeover across the nation, Portland's own Frog Brigade.
Frogs together strong!
Yeah! I love it.
Oh, it's so great.
Great. Keep it up.
Washington, D.C., the White Coast law, many of them have this four-sided base on it. It's about a foot and a half high, with political posters on them. And sure enough, there's Portland's frogs across the bottom of a lot of those posters. And of course, people have been protesting broadly with joy and whimsy. You know, the president wanted riots here in our city, in our Rose City, so that he could go back to the courts and bring out authoritarian forces, possibly invoke the Insurrection Act. And we have completely frustrated that effort by the president, standing up for democracy and freedom. So well done, citizens of Portland.
With pride.
Yes!
At Town Hall, I'd like to put a spotlight on an organization that's doing cool things. And this is my 18th Multnomah County Town Hall. There's never a shortage of organizations. But today we're going to put the spotlight on the William Temple House and Grand Crafts and wherever Grant is. All right. So they offer a food pantry and low, no-cost mental health care to Northwest Portland for over 60 years. And I'll just let you give the details, because you know inside out, and tell us what you're up to.
Thank you. And I was really hoping to go before the frogs. Thank you, Senator, for this recognition on behalf of William Temple House's whole team, our staff, our volunteers, our counselors, our donors, and especially our clients. Like, this is really for all of y'all. So thank you on behalf of all of us. William Temple House was founded in 1965. We provide professional, very accessible mental health counseling through our clinic and nutritious, diverse food through our pantry. And 2025 was a hard year for a lot of our clients. We saw demand for our services go way up. We saw supply for some of the things we're doing go way down thanks to federal cuts. And in October, November, when we saw staff benefits threatened, we knew we had to do something extra. So we made a bold commitment that no one would be turned away. We would not turn away anyone from our counseling clinic, and no one would leave our pantry empty-handed. And thanks to the support of thousands and thousands of Portlanders, we've been able to keep that promise. And in 2026, our commitment is to keep doing that. We'll provide food, counseling, connection to all of our Portland neighbors that need it. And we know we can do it because we know Portland is better than this. We know America is better than this. And this flag is going to remind us of that every day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just as a way of saying thank you for that incredible work, and the idea that no one was turned away. Beautiful throughout our community. Everyone's trying to reach out and help their neighbors in need, and we have a lot of neighbors in need. You did it in an incredible, powerful way. So well done, and for you using the appropriate fashion, a flag has been flown over the U.S. Capitol. So we're going to dive into your questions and comments. Senator Wyden and I are about the only two senators who hold town halls like this, and it's worked in Oregon because of what we refer to as the Oregon way, which means basically somebody's speaking and you don't like what they say. Well, It's your job to still be very respectful and let them make their point of view, and we'll ask everyone else to do the same when it's your turn. And it's pretty rare in America to have forums where people can just speak their mind and listen to each other. And so let's make that happen once again here today. Does that work for folks? And so the counselor's going to give me 3 tickets at a time, and I'll just read the numbers that are on the far right. The last 3 numbers, the first 3 numbers are the same. So we'll just jump right into it. 951, 549, and 949. Just wave your hand and we'll run up to you with the microphone. If you can start with your number, and to my team, remind people to give their numbers so we can retire them and your name.
Thank you for being here, Senator. My name is Ann Sutherland. I'm a retired physician and I own property in area code 97202. My question is, how close do you think the blue states are to making a soft secession happen? And if, for anyone who's interested, I follow Chris Armitage on Substack. He wrote a little pamphlet. I think he'll give it to you for free. It's called Introduction to Soft Secession.
Thank you. And I think if I heard your question right, you said, how close are blue states to a succession from the Union? Did I hear that right? A soft succession plan. Well, I'm not sure exactly what soft succession means. So I've probably got to come up to speed with the pamphlet that you were waving around, but I can tell you this, and that is the frustration with what's unfolding in America in terms of the systematic destruction of our freedom, our due process, our separation of powers, our checks and balances. We are seeing our republic destroyed from the inside, and it's our job to end it. That's the task we have ahead of us right now. And
right.
you know, you hear about this happening and that happening, sometimes it's hard to put into a framework. So if you read the literature on how democracies have died over the last 3 decades, it's rare that it happens with men with guns storming a Capitol or the equivalent of the White House. It happens from the inside. An authoritarian president, a rubber stamp Congress, a deferential court, and we have all 3 right now. And in that literature, so as I read through it trying to understand that, there's kind of 10 strategies. So in this handout, and I hope we had enough for everyone, but that's what this is. It lays out the 10 strategies that are being used to destroy our republic, and then describes how Trump is pursuing each of them. And it is systematic. It starts with you fire the referees on the front end, you put Royals in charge of things, you steal the power of the courts, first, you run over due process, you make ordinary instruments like security clearances or handing out research grants or mergers or permits, instruments of oppression and manipulation. You proceed to create a political enemies list, and you weaponize the judiciary, or not judiciary, Department of Justice to go after them, you put the military in the streets, and you rig the next election. All 10 of those are going on right now, and we have to stop it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first thing, how do we stop it? There are 2 factors that are
Looks like there's some MAGA people who are on here and they can't chat, so
citizen protest. If there's no protesters,
they dropped off.
Maybe they're stretching the boundaries a little, but it must be within the law, it must be within the Constitution. No. And that's why the No Kings March and marches to come are so important. How many people are out on No Kings Day? Everybody here! It's so important, and it includes the type of protesting like calling, yes, your electeds, aggressively holding them accountable. I've said to people, feel free to protest outside my office, come to town halls, tell me I'm not good enough, two things that I took from last year as I wrestled with all the things I was doing, but what else can I do? One was to put together and bring the alarm bells to try to kind of make sure we understand that it's not just policies on healthcare, housing, education, jobs, equality, environment, infrastructure. It is, we are losing the vision of our nation. And second of all, in order to try to publicize that, I did what is now the longest speech ever by a senator over the age of 60. My recommendation is in order to speak for 22 hours straight, plus 37 minutes, don't come a couple weeks after you put your back. That is the resistance inside Congress and outside is essential. And the next election, that's the most dangerous strategy of all. The president's putting together a national voter registration base. So Tobias Reed is blocking that as our Secretary of State. We just won a You all heard about the whole gerrymandering strategy, and it's not just what you've already heard about, it's also the Supreme Court is proceeding to potentially put out a decision gutting what remains of the Voting Rights Act. And if that happens, it's estimated that another 19 Republican seats could be converted from D to red to try to create permanent Republican control. And I'm trying not to be partisan, but at this moment, I'm sorry the Republican Party is not standing up and doing its job to protect the Constitution.
Dude, if now isn't the time to be partisan, when is?
Vote by mail, because on election day you can manipulate the turnout quite easily. You move the precinct location, you put in machines that don't work, you put in staff that don't work, you create long lines, you put out intimidators, you put out information that, sorry, you didn't make it, the election was last week, and the election is actually the next Tuesday. All of those are done regularly in places across America. That's why vote by mail is such a powerful antidote, because its integrity prevents all of that manipulation. So not only can we not let vote by mail be diminished, it needs to be established as a right for everyone across the whole country to stop this sort of I'm going to keep rolling on to other questions, and I'll try to be a little shorter so we can get as many comments and thoughts in as possible. If we have any more, yes, third the back. Again, name and number, please, to start off.
Yes. Hi, my name is Helena Barecki. The phone number is 951. I live in zip code 97209, and I usually advocate on climate and environment. And in the long run, this is climate and environment, because you cannot solve climate change if you have sacrifice stones. So my question today is, what is your plan with your colleagues to stop funding ICE?
I appreciate that you tied together both climate and as you put a sacrifice.
How do those go together?
Well, let me talk about the climate side of the funding of ICE. In our short lifetimes on this planet, we have seen a dramatic change. Anywhere you go in Oregon, you're going to see the red zones where the pine trees are dying because of drought and pine beetle attacking the trees that are weaker. You're going to see a drop in the average snowpack in the Cascade Mountains, which means less water for our trout and salmon streams, less water for irrigation. Over on the coast, you're going to see that we now have massive sections of the ocean that were kelp beds that have been wiped out. They're called virgin barrens because of a change in disease, and I won't go into all the details, but basically the whole ecosystem has been upset. And then you have the forest fires. I mean, it's like just in our little lifetimes on this planet. I used to have these buttons that
For
said
those who just joined us, the next question is defunding ICE.
And the idea was for people to say, why are you wearing a button on the 400? And the answer was because we must not allow the carbon in the atmosphere to get above 400 parts per million. Well, we're way over the top of that. And the effects are everywhere. So it's so real, but I find the best way to talk about it isn't what is going to happen when sea level rise 50 years from now. No, it's the things on the ground right now that are happening to our forests, to our farming, to our oceans. And here we have a president who dismisses 1,000% that anything's happening. To tackle this is the biggest task humanity has collecting, our biggest collective challenge. And we are failing. And America needs to be not just a participant, we need an all-out leadership on this. And so let's please, for whatever party to be found, let's have a president and a Congress that are all acting aggressively to restore America. And I say restore because we never quite made it, so maybe restore is an overstatement. But we need a vigorous advocacy, participation to rapidly transition from a fossil fuel energy economy to a renewable economy. One is clean and cheap, one's expensive and dirty. Let's go with the clean and cheap, save the planet in partnership with the world.
Cheap is good.
ICE, how do we fund them? The big ugly betrayal of the bill, they received the $75 billion. You've heard about their $70,000 bonuses that they're handing out. They are recruiting, sending massive numbers. They're adding 1,000 people in Minnesota as we speak. This Congress is not going to defund them, which means we damn well better have a different Congress very soon. That's the only way we're going to get the
Damn right.
There is a little development that was kind of at least a positive sign, and that is the Homeland Security bill was detached from the other bills that are being considered this coming week in the House of Representatives. So a little bit of sign of a little bit of bipartisan pressure there, but I'm not expecting that in the end we will see ICE defunded as long as you have the leadership in the House and Senate that you have right now. But we've been pondering this last week, whatever strategy we could think of. You can't get an amendment off of the Senate without unanimous consent. You can't put a bill on the floor without the leadership party proposing for it to be put on the floor. So that's why I'm saying that the change in leadership is going to be essential to radical change. You saw the video of Renee Good.
Yeah.
Slaughter.
Several of them.
It's just so stunning. And then the following day, Thursday night, I'm on the plane coming back here, so a week ago, and I got word about the two shootings here in Portland. Agents shooting two individuals just blocks from my home. I live in the outer east section, 114th, not far from the hospital where they were shot. And if you think about, I think about one of our senators who has a lot of background, who said that even in that video with Renee, you see untrained officers at work. You see standing in front of a car, you see conflicting information given to the driver, you see an agent with a gun in one hand and a camera in the other, like that's crazy, and then you see shooting at a slow-moving vehicle. I mean, untrained, aggressive. They're being told to act this way from the administration. This is part of the strategy of tyranny that we're up against. Okay, let's keep rolling. If we have the third number, if not, we'll get three more. Okay, the next three are 946, 911, and 968. Any of those three? Okay, over here.
946, and my name is Jason Tim. I'm a Falun Gong practitioner locally here, live in the shadow of Hill Hill. Here to talk about the Falun Gong Protection Act, Senate Bill 817. We've talked to your staff for years about the persecution of Falun Gong in China by the Communist Party in China. There's been, more than 70 million practitioners since persecution started in late 1990. So it's a big deal. It's the biggest persecution still going on in China. You never hear about it. You only hear about Tibetans. We hear what lots of practitioners in the region of China. Falun Gong is spiritual practice rooted in the principles of truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. Over 2024 and 2025,
Falun Gong?
Protection Act first came out. We've been talking to your staff about how important it is.
Those are the guys who run the Epoch Times, by the way.
Help stop the industrial scale forced organ harvesting that's going on in China against many Falun Gong.
Not saying we shouldn't do something about it, but it's kind of not our country.
The Falun Gong Protection Act will enhance transparency, sanction perpetrators, and prevent U.S. complicity by reassessing cooperation with China in the field of organ transplantation. The act was sponsored by Marco Rubio in 1924, and now the current one is sponsored by Ted Cruz. Over the few meetings we've had with your staff recently, we provided upwards of 500 or 5,000 local signatures, which we readily gathered. People around this area, this region, we're very happy to sign on to encourage our senators to co-sponsor Senate Bill 817. And we presented those to your staff. This issue is pretty nonpartisan. Everybody understands that when they sign these petitions. But the bills have not got the Democratic co-sponsors yet, which I think we really need. So you've been on the CECC heading it, which is great, and you have co-sponsored bills with Senator Rubio before, about a year ago. So we wonder if there's any questions you have, or if you're reviewing Senate Bill 817, and if there's any roadblocks that I might know about that I can pass on to people back in Washington that lobby you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great. Thank you for raising the issue. And the religious discrimination in China is massive, and I have been advocating for a whole series of hearings on the China Commission, and I did team up with Senator Rubio, then Senator Rubio, on the, and as you mentioned, with the Uyghurs, the enslavement strategy. The U.S. said we're going to have the ability to block anything made through an enslavement strategy coming into the U.S. And it's the most effective bill among the democratic republics of the world in rejecting that. But I'll take another look at the Falun Gong Act, so thank you for bringing attention to it. Thank you. Okay, do we have either of the other two? Waving hands over this way too. And by the way, in red is Mitra, my field rep, and she's on my website. You can call her to gain access on any issue to me or to my team.
Thank you. My number is 911, which is appropriate. My name is Erin Lauer. I am in 97239 of Portland, Oregon. I am a mom, a business owner, an architect, a yoga teacher, a sustainability consultant. I am a property owner. I'm asking what you can do for these two things here to stop ICE and to release the SB file. I'm calling to urge you to filibuster the Upland Homeland Security Appropriations Bill.
97239, guys. That's the neighborhood of the ICE building. I live there.
To defund ICE, or to at least defund the ICE bump that occurred in the last shutdown in June. Moving it back to 10 billion annually instead of 37.5 billion currently. And I just want to thank you too, because you started with stopping arms legislation to Gaza, and this was the beginning. He is all over the world, and it happens in Minneapolis. It happens here tomorrow, as you know. It happens. It just keeps going on in the world, and everyone is disposable at this point. So thank you.
So thank you for mentioning Gaza, because Gaza is out of the news, being kind of, there's Venezuela, there's Trump trying to turn Greenland into Trump land, and so on and so forth. But it is horrific, the circumstances in Gaza. They have not gotten better. No journalists are still allowed in. I have gone twice, and I've done the Rafah gate twice, and stood on the very edge and not been allowed in. On my last trip last year, I planned a building on the boundary with Rafah, three-story building, stood on the ledge, looked down, and where I had seen 1 million people a year before, nothing but rubble, complete total rubble, everything blown up to make it impossible for people to return. It has been an affliction of the people of the Middle East not to have actually consolidated the vision of a homeland, of 2 states. And I'm praying and hoping that this affliction can end and we can have a Palestinian state in the near future. You also mentioned Epstein files. So I did a bill in the Senate for the full disclosure of the Epstein files. The House bill passed first, came to the Senate. I put it up as an amendment on the Defense Authorization Act. It was tabled by the majority party. But then when the House did a withdrawal petition, they then had to vote on it, and suddenly they voted, all but one person in the House voted to release the Epstein files. And then I went to the floor with the minority leader, and we put up unanimous consent requests, and all 100 senators agreed that upon the bill arriving in the Senate, it would be deemed passed and forwarded to the White House. So I was right in the middle of that Epstein battle. You know that only 1% of the Epstein files have been released? 1%. So again, completely ignoring the rule of law. And there's a second set of Epstein files that Senator Wyden is leading on. They're at the Treasury Department. It's $1.5 billion of identified suspicious activity reports associated with his operation, with dates, amounts of money, and who got them. That's a treasure trove for anyone doing an investigation. So let's try to get Epstein Files 2.0 passed as well.
Damn right.
And on ICE, there isn't actually a way to block. I'll just, we think of filibuster as people speaking, but that's not what it actually is anymore in the Senate. But they do need 60 votes to proceed to it. I hope it's done as an individual bill. I have a feeling it will be in the middle of a whole expanded other stuff. And even by itself, Homeland Security includes FEMA and other pieces. So it's going to be complicated. But I take your point. We would love to dramatically decrease, send a powerful message to the president on ICE through the power of the purse. That is, so thank you for
You've already answered defunding ICE before, guys.
that third number was 868. 968 we don't have yet. Sorry about that. Close. The next three, 547, 127, and 920.
My name is Shaggy. I am the 127.
Thank you.
And thank you, Merkley, in the past. You have been very vocal about human rights. And also, I am a practitioner. And I also urge you to co-sponsor this bill, 870, that Jason just mentioned. You know, in early year 2006, when the Harris first exposed, you know, no media, no mainstream media tech, we need to touch this topic. But through these many years, we have been, you know, working, talking, and I think that now and realize that such crime does happen in China. And now you realize that this is nowadays not only targeting the Falun practitioners, not only targeting political descendants, now they are targeting everybody. You know, we see some of those stories that you know, some students just disappear. And so how in this world, in this human world, we can allow such crime happen? So I think this bill, 817, is really necessary to send a clear message to the Chinese regime. Also, I think it is the baseline of the humanity that our world, the whole world should hold. So I here again, you know, ask you to check into this matter and to co-sponsor this bill. I think it's really, really important. Thank you.
Thank you. I think your comment really echoed the point made earlier on Falun Gong, so I'll thank you for reinforcing that point. And then we have 547 and 920. Either one?
We have two.
I'm just very frustrated.
Yeah, it's on.
I'm just very frustrated. I think what's going on. And some said that people do anything they want to do.
Can't hear you.
Well, Trump said that you can do anything you want to do, including nothing happens to others as well. So I'm wondering what people who are in Congress can do, who are in the minority, to stop that. That is effective, because it really is just over everything, and today he does something else, and nothing happens. So, do you have any strategy?
So to repeat what I understood of your frustration, which we're all feeling, is the president just continues rolling along, rolling over the top of the law, rolling over the top of the Constitution, and do we have a strategy to stop? Did I catch that pretty much right? Okay. Well, you know, you think about presidents of both parties in the past, they had very disparate views, but they respected the rule of law. And sometimes they went beyond, and the court said, no, you can't do that. The court, for example, turned down President Biden on a number of his colleagues' affordability plans that he thought he had the power to implement. The court said, no, you didn't. But it
Sorry, guys.
It wasn't born of a deliberate effort to run over the law. And that's the difference of what we see now, and also a deliberate effort to run over the Constitution. The thing that frustrates us all is because the assumption underlying our entire kind of fabric of our republic is that those who are elected will actually follow the law and the Constitution. So the tools that are in the law when people don't do that, when presidents don't do that, are weak. And the first big tool, I guess you could say it's a big tool, and that's impeachment and conviction and removal from office. Okay? The reason I said it's weak is because it takes a Congress willing to hold an impeachment trial, which we do not have a House willing to do that. It takes a supermajority in the Senate, which is not going to happen under this leadership. So therefore, that tool is not within our grasp at this moment. Okay, the second big tool are the courts. But the courts move really slowly. And for example, the Constitution has taxation power, which includes tariff power, to Congress. And so every time the president says, I'm canceling the program because it's, quote, not in alignment with the administration's priorities, you've heard that term time and time again, that is an authoritarian statement. It's breaking the law and the Constitution. But here we are on just that issue of tariffs, and the president grabbing tariff power. Every other president has understood, no, you have to get Congress to pass a law to establish a tariff. That's why we have things like the USMCA, the US-Mexico, Central America, or Canadian, excuse me, sorry, Canadian agreement, you know, it's done by law. Well, here we are a year later, and the Supreme Court is finally holding hearings and may issue a finding that says the president can't do tariffs on his own. But that's a year. And you know, he's doing that under an emergency power called IEPA, and there's like 25 emergency powers. He may simply say, oh, the court said I couldn't do it under IEPA, now I'm going to start doing it under this other emergency power. And then what's it going to be, another year before that's struck down? Okay, so this is what I mean by we're so frustrated because the tools were designed, it's the kind of the informal norms that respect the intent and vision of the Constitution that are the glue that hold this thing together. And that's completely gone right now. And the courts can't move fast enough. And not to mention that the Supreme Court has been taken over by almost a cabal that came from the Federalist Society that put corporate power over everything else, even though there was nothing like a corporation of that nature like the when the court said in Trump versus United States that the president is above the law, and with pardon power, the whole executive branch is above the law. I mean, so by the way, we have to reclaim our country. We also have to reform the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah!
But I know you're thinking, what? That's not going to happen immediately, so what can we do now? There are the two powers we have. I'll keep coming back to this because of the only two we really have at this moment, and it's citizen protest, it's maximum use within the legislature of our minority voting power, but it's minority power in a majority organization. But most importantly, it's the next election. And the reason the scholars over authoritarian takeovers talk about the next election, if you don't have a robust rejection of the next election, by the time you go one more election out, they've been so thoroughly rigged, you've lost your republic.
If we
And
don't
so
win
this
2026,
we are less
there
than
will
10 months
not
out
be a
from the election.
2028.
Let's make it count. And yes, we'll get your microphone, we got your number in.
Okay, my number is 547. And my name is Johannes. I reside in Portland, Oregon, 97202. And I'm an immigrant. My question for you is, what can you do to have unrestricted access to ICE facilities and international observers also to have access to ICE facilities? My second follow-up question is there any accountability to the people that are being deported to other countries? What is happening to them? Thank you.
Did you hear that Trump has just banned members of Congress from going to an ICE facility? So I've been in the ICE facility here because the House members for Oregon and Senator White and myself were
That, by the way, is illegal.
And all the sorts of normal cooperation you get with an administration saying, we realize that under our Constitution, Congress makes the law, and our job is to execute it, so of course we will be in close communication and share information. No, not happening. And even just the idea that access, the executive branch would ban access. You know, I got blocked from getting into, under Trump 1, into a facility that was holding boys who had been intercepted on the border. I was the first member of Congress to go down to the border and kind of discover the child separation scandal. And I came out of this warehouse, and there was a phalanx of cameras that were like, what's going on there? And I said, you wouldn't believe this, but I just saw inside that warehouse children being separated from their families, and I described it. But that same day, I went up the road to a former Walmart where I heard that some 1,400 boys were being held. I heard 1,000 boys were being held, and they wouldn't let me in. And I did a Facebook Live trying to get in, and then a week later, all the press got in and so forth. But under Trump 2, much harder because they're just much more comfortable saying, we don't care what you think, we're just going to block you. You don't like it, go to court. Okay, well, in the court a year from now will say that we can get into a facility. But I think your question was if I caught it right, is also like, what do we do about people just being shipped overseas? You know, Brego Garcia was shipped to El Salvador because they said he had a gang affiliation.
Torture facility, concentration camp.
By the United States. Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, because he was, Brego Garcia was a Maryland resident, went to El Salvador, and only by having cameras on him the whole time did we finally get access to that horrific prison that is, they say the only way to come out is in a coffin. And when the Supreme Court voted 9-0, it took a Supreme Court 9-0 decision saying his due process had been violated. Trump still left him in El Salvador for 2 months, defied the Supreme Court of the United States of America. That's describing the challenge that we're up against. So we're going to publicize these cases. We're going to advocate. There was a woman arrested on the border. She's from Honduras. She's documented here. She has 4 U.S. citizenship children, 3 triplets, 9 years old, a 7-year-old. And they were all detained. And Maxine Dexter, Congresswoman Maxine Dexter, took on this cause and said, right in my It took us 4 months to get her out of jail, even though no charges were filed against her. And her citizen children had to be with a friend for 4 months because the mother was being held with no cause. If you sense my absolute frustration and anger over this, it's because all of you expect us to have us elected to have more tools than we have under our framework of law when a president chooses to ignore the law and the Constitution. And so we're left with advocacy, and advocacy is important, but it can leave somebody even with high-level advocacy sitting in the Tacoma Detention Center for 4 months. That is just, so we'll keep using the tools we have. We'll keep working towards a majority that will give us new tools, and the courts have to find a way to move a hell of a lot faster to defend the fundamental rights of people. 171, 761, and 877. Speak into the microphone there.
This was not the number, but do we want to answer your question anyway?
I am so sorry, but we're going to stick to the numbers just to be fair to everyone that have a chance. off all the other microphones except for one.
Ooh, ouch. Sorry, guys.
Everyone who has a microphone, please turn it off except for this young woman. Yours can be turned on.
People don't know how to use a microphone. Yeesh.
My name is Susan Dooley, and my number is 164277. And the question I wanted to ask was, we're going to have an election soon. He's already beginning to say that we're not going to have an election soon, and that he will actually run for president the next time we're announced that he is president. You're saying pretty much to all the questions that even you don't have the tools in your toolbox to do anything about this.
Yeah. What if he cancels the election? This asshole plans to cancel the election.
Just to repeat her point, I'm talking about the next election, but what if the president doesn't vote or allow the next election, use emergency power, delays it, and then he's also said he's going to run for president, to repeat both points. And so this is not, I mean, can you believe it? We're here in the United States of America with 200 plus years of peaceful transfer of power, and we're worried about a president actually obstructing the next election. And it was not a false worry. It is a real concern. And so the challenge is potentially coming in the form of saying, well, the election rolls are not ready, so I'm exercising some emergency power, or certain states didn't hand over the election rolls. Fortunately, the courts did back us up on our refusal to hand over the election details to the president. We cannot let the president purge the rolls, because even though they don't have the details, they have what's available to anybody who goes to our Secretary of State office. They have the names. And if they try to purge our roll and say we have to use a nationally manipulated election roll, we have to say, hell no, we're going to hold our elections in every state we extend the republic. But I'm very worried about them saying emergency power, I'm going to delay the elections or interfere with we are going to need our Republican colleagues to stand with us, united in defense of the Constitution. Now, I will say we're starting to see more pushback, and quite frankly, the biggest message that my colleagues across the aisle had was 2 months ago in the November election, when the blue candidates took the 2 seats in Georgia on the Utility Commission, and the Supreme Courts in Pennsylvania, and the 2 governorships in New Jersey and Virginia, and every single county in Virginia shifted 6 to 16% towards the blue side. That started to change the conversation among my colleagues. They should have been fierce defenders of our Constitution all the way through. They've held no oversight hearings, they haven't defended the power of the purse, they haven't defended the power of Congress to declare to control taxing authority on the tariffs, and they haven't defended the responsibility of Congress to be the ones to decide whether the military goes into action on foreign territory. They failed on every single one of those. Started to change. You saw a little bit of this with the week before last, 5 Republican senators voted to withdraw the War Powers Resolution, and co-sponsoring from committee. Great, the president got 2 of them to change their vote, and we lost the vote on a 50-50 tie. This week, we saw 15 members of the House of Representatives vote for a 3-year extension of the affordable tax credits that make the insurance policies, healthcare insurance policies unchanged, affordable. And the president said, I'm going to have people like primary every single one of you, and they kind of ignored him. you're starting to see some changes, but it's going to take bipartisan effort to save our elections. And it's a conversation we're having with our colleagues, and they keep saying, well, this would never happen. Well, they have to be prepared. We all have to be prepared for massive resistance of any effort to disrupt the November election.
Not good enough.
I hear you. I hear you. It was not good enough. I feel the same.
You are failing us. Not good enough.
So, do we have anyone else in those last three? That last three were 877, 761, 171. And I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Adjust the mic.
I don't even know where to begin because I came here because I am not seeing our elected officials doing anything about the whistleblowers at Legacy Emmanuel. There are hospitals, and we just found out that this is happening in Kaiser too, but there are hospital administrators who are collaborating with ICE. We suspect they have a contract with ICE.
Fuck those assholes.
And these administrators are assisting them in lawless activity, breaking HIPAA, forcing to get people discharged before they are medically cleared. They are harming people, and hospital administrators are helping that, and they are punishing
The people who do that need to go to
staff
jail.
who are trying to advocate for their patients and speak out against that. They are retaliating against them. And there have been at least 5 news articles, and the ONA has written a letter and a follow-up letter. Legacy is not listening to them. And I don't see any response from our Attorney General. I don't see any response from our elected officials. And so I am not only seeing our government failing at a national level, but also a local level. And I need to see more accountability for that. I need to see people actually paying attention to what's happening in our own city.
I didn't know.
And you work there, Brendan?
I have friends who work there. One of them, a whistleblower, was forced. One of them, a whistleblower, was forced to resign because they put her on administrative leave for sending out red cards in the emergency department.
So, her point was that at Legacy Emmanuel, she has friends who, I think one who's been fired and others who have been unable to do their advocacy.
She was put on
Administrative leave.
for handing out red cards, which remind you of your constitutional rights.
For handing out red cards that remind you of your constitutional rights. And so if any of them would be willing to talk to my team, if you can, I'll look at a card from Matrix to get to you.
That's the thing, I've been talking to your assistant, and I was told that you're talking with ONA about this.
Oh, we have that, absolutely. And as you may know, I'm very close to ONA because my wife is a member of ONA, and she's been on their kind of administrative board in the past. There's power to the nurses helping us make the world better. So far, the administration has said because of the very same rules you were citing, different rules, they can't tell us anything. And because it's a contract, if they have one with the federal government, they're not going to tell us what that is. So we're asking, but we're not getting answers.
So, Paulina, please.
So,
This, like, we are having people saying that they're violating HIPAA.
Of course, I mean, okay. Thank you for that point. And when she notes that somebody was put on leave because they reminded some people of their rights, well, you know what happened when 2 senators and 4 House members simply restated the law in a video?
Yeah.
They put out a video that said, remember military members, that you have the right to refuse unlawful or unconstitutional orders. Something that's in the training for every military person. The president proceeded to launch investigations of both Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan and to Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly, a former astronaut, and they're not just launching, they're trying to strip him of his rank and his pension for stating the law in America. So, if a powerful former astronaut, kind of well-known across America, can be pursued by the Department of Justice and the military simultaneously for stating a simple statement of law, that's the extra constitutional tyranny that's being executed right now in America. And you're citing a local example, and those local examples have to be taken seriously too. But what I mentioned earlier, we're giving her a card. If anybody else have folks who want to talk to my team or willing to talk to my team about the details, I'll keep going to the administration of the hospital to push. So let us know. We're in extraordinary times.
We need the Oregon Attorney General to be pushing.
I've been trying to end my town halls on a happier note, which feels maybe a little out of place in this period, but I feel like we do have to restore our energy, our willingness to be, and it's like I've been saying, we've got to be off the couch. We have to fiercely hold our electeds accountable, which many of you are doing today, so you're well done. And we need to be joining affinity groups, because to be frustrated and angry alone is to be depressed. To be frustrated and angry and organized is to be energized and effective. And we have to be energized and effective if we're going to save our republic from the dire straits we're in right now. So if you need to take a little break, feel like you can take a weekend or a couple of days and turn off your cell phone and turn off the news. I did hand these out on the way in. If you like it, it's also on my website. It's cool places all around Oregon you could go and experience the fact that in everything that's going to hell everywhere else, we still live in the most amazing paradise to be found on planet Earth, right here in Oregon. So let's take a break from all the darkness and come back even stronger and recharged and save our...
Come back energized. Nobody can hear a word he's saying. All right, guys. So there are a few people who are pretty pissed, even with Democrats, because although there's not a whole hell of a lot they can do, it feels like they should be able to find something more to do. That is, I don't know what else that is. But, I mean, you heard somebody say no breaks. People I trust are saying take time to make sure you don't burn out in September, October, because if this fucking asshole doesn't just cancel the election. You're going to need to be in the fight. We're going to need everyone in the fight. You know, we're seeing... I don't know if there is a single normie Republican left. If they are, they've got their heads so far, I want to say shoved up their ass, but we'll say in the sand, that I don't know what's going to shake them at this point. But, you know, Trump is down to 30% less, and he's going to be down as low as maybe 20% before this is over with, before we even get to the election. Good. But that makes him more dangerous. He's going to get more dangerous, more out of control. But the more he does that, the less support he's got. Will these Republicans do anything? Honestly, I doubt it. I doubt it. The entire Republican Party literally prostrated themselves before this asshole when he took power. That is why I left the Republican Party in January of last year. I was a Republican. Didn't vote for him in 2024. Didn't. Voted for Harris. But y'all tired of hearing that story. I'm tired of telling that story. So the major thing is the possibility that, you know, he just cancels the election. What do we do if he does? I think the consequences for America, if he cancels that election, are dire. I think the consequences for Donald Trump personally will be more dire. How do I know that? I don't. I am a legally blind... Here's my ID. You guys have seen me with it. I'm a legally blind, insulin-dependent, diabetic, stage 4 melanoma patient on chemo. Pose no direct threat to Donald Trump, unless it be talking to this camera right here, or, you know, one of my actually good cameras. But I mean, when it comes right down to it, if that bastard cancels the election, I think shit happens. I think some bad shit happens. I don't want bad shit to happen, but he doesn't care if it does. He thinks he'll win. I don't think he will win. I don't think he'll win. But if he's desperate, who knows what the hell he's going to do. Anyway. It feels like a lot of Democrats are doing fuck all. Ron Wyden is one of the ones who's doing something. It would be good if he was doing more. It would be good if I could get, you know, a single one of my state Democrat representatives to answer with a form letter. They won't do it. I don't know what to do, except, you know, if some of you people are in Oregon run against people who are in office, I might vote for you. Actually, you know, if you're willing to primary some of these do nothing, go along to get along Democrats who have power to do stuff and are doing jack shit, I'm very likely to vote for you. So, you know, if you're thinking about running, I think you would have a better chance than you might expect. It's been a long year. It has been a long fucking year. We're tired. We're exhausted. And yet, you know, we have 9 months and change to go before the election. If you need to take some time to recharge, re-energize, come back stronger, do that. Come back, because we got some ass to kick. figuratively. Getting violent. I've said how many times. I go down to the ice building so often now. And I have said time and again, if they were rioting or violent or doing any of the shit that Donald Trump has accused us of doing, I wouldn't be there. If ICE were following the law and going after people who, were committing violent crimes, if they were getting warrants, if they were doing any of the shit they're supposed to do, I wouldn't be there. I'm there because they're not. And actually, going down to the ICE building energizes me. It makes me feel better. Probably that's because I'm now going out there with a megaphone and acting like I'm 12, honestly. But you know what? Do whatever you need to do to have the energy to be ready to fight for our country. Like, if you don't, we're not going to have one, because that's literally where the fuck we are. So, I'm at the Oregon Convention Center, where they charge literally $12 for one day to use weak sauce, lame-ass Wi-Fi. It's $50 a day if you want the good stuff. So, I have no idea what the quality of the stream is, but hey, it didn't disconnect. That's better than Comcast, but it was still $12. I think it was well spent. Anyway, I don't normally ask you guys to comment, like, subscribe to the channel or any of that shit, because I'm not trying to monetize this channel. I don't care. I don't need the money. I mean, well, I do need the money, but I'm not going to be one of those grifters. We've got grifters on both sides, guys. I'm not going to be one of them. But if you guys want, chat to actually be able to be saved, I did turn it off for this because I didn't want the distraction. I wanted to hear what he had to say. But, and it's really hard to see because I got like this much at the bottom of my screen, and I have to do this just to read it. And that's distracting for everybody, and you wouldn't have been able to see what was going on. So if I get over 1,000 subs, I'll be able to actually have chat that doesn't disappear as soon as I finish the video. Yeah, I might need some moderators at some point. I don't know. I've got a couple people in mind, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm Joseph. Have another taco, people. And I will talk to you when I talk to you. Those things, I didn't grab the, places in Oregon because, man, there's websites for that, but like the newsletter stuff, if I can't find a digital link, I will scan those pages for you. So, anyway, take care.